Many wonderful African photographers, in fact, that are actually inserting themselves in the photography environment on the African continent. Zanele Muholi, Delphine Diallo, Felicia Abani. The list is very long. So there are many talented and accomplished women in photography on the African continent. They are making significant contributions, not only on the continent, but also international. While the industry has historically been male-dominated, women photographers across the continent are breaking barriers and reshaping the narratives that we are seeing through the lens of photography. And we're going to be zooming into that with our conversation in our second hour as we look at the Black Woman in Photography Conference, a space to support, celebrate, and amplify Black women photographers in South Africa and beyond. Helping us on this one, we're joined by Bandile Gumbi, head of the Market Photo Workshop. Bandile, welcome on the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yeah, the big misconception is that we don't have women photographers on the continent, but it's a growing space, isn't it, Bandile?
It is. Women are taking spaces in all forms and within the arts. And photography is quite a technical field and sometimes a dangerous field. Women haven't been much involved, but they are. And actually the issue is that they're not seen more than the fact that they don't exist.
And let's speak about that existence because, photography is a specialized industry, but especially because we as, the ordinary people, we see the world through the eyes and the lens of photographers all across the world.
And true. And so the photographer cannot be out of the frame. They might be behind the frame. So it leads us to ask questions like, who is seeing? What are they seeing? From which perspective? And if we're not seeing work from the perspective of women, then how is that in terms of representation or truth or acknowledgement and ownership of stories? Actually happens.
Yeah. Tell us how that actually happens, because you earlier spoke about the technicality. Maybe people just stay on the technicality of things, that you just click a camera and you're good to go, and people don't understand the perspective from a gender viewpoint. Could you elaborate on that so we understand it a little bit more?
I mean, on the technical side, maybe not so much on that I want to talk about it, because there is training. We do train photographers, and it takes time to understand how to work a camera, how to make the camera part of your eye, an extension of your eye, basically. And that's a process that you need to go through and learn a skill like any other skill. You learn the technicalities, you practice it until you're actually quite good at it. So that is a skill, and that's what happens. But now when we look at who's actually holding the camera and what are they actually photographing, then that creates a story. That's where the narrative comes to, that it's about what you see in the frame, yes, and what the people see out there. But someone decided to take the picture and decided to take that picture in that particular way of that particular scene, person, or environment on that particular day for whatever reason. And that person brings in their story, their perspective, themselves into the photograph. Sometimes it's unintentional, but you can't divorce yourself from that. So I believe storytelling generally, it's very hard to say it's an objective situation. It's an art. And art comes as a kind of like a subjective, if I should use that word, way of interpreting the world and seeing the world.
Why do you think that opportunities within the photography industry are still not equally distributed?
I mean, work outside, let's just go back to very basic thing, like work outside the home or work that is seen as dangerous is work that is normally seen as not for women. And women photographers who are out there in the field, especially the ones that are into news photography, documentary photography, they put themselves because they need to tell the story in dangerous situations are in danger on a second level as women. We live in a world of gender-based violence. We live in a world of transphobia. We live in the world of the LGBTQI community being targeted for many reasons. So gender in that layered way it's something that when you're out there, besides being in a dangerous situation yourself as a practitioner, this comes into place. Your identity, your gender comes into place of how you are victimized maybe sometimes, or how you have to fight differently than others, how you have to guard yourself differently. And it creates layers that are unnecessary when the work itself is also of a nature that puts you in a kind of like precarious situation. And I think the conversations around this conference are about that.
Well, let's speak about
how those
yes,
spaces.
sorry, please continue.
And how to create those spaces of being practicing without feeling like your being is in danger beyond just the job.
Yeah. Well, the conference in question here is the Black Women in Photography Conference. There are two layers to this particular one. We are speaking about women, but we're also speaking about Black women in the photography space. Let's bring in that racial aspect. Is that something that has also been sort of, pushed aside, Black women in particular, in the photography industry?
Well, looking at the history of the Market Photo Workshop, how it started almost 40 years ago now, is that it was a space during apartheid where Black people could access photography because that was not what was allowed or the norm at the time. And taking that racialized aspect of the history of the photo workshop and moving it forward now to issues around gender, and it was gendered back then anyway, because it was normally Black men who could come to the photo workshop, who could take that risk. So the space carries the history of the social realities we live under. So if you look at it from that perspective, Black women are at the bottom of the rung in terms of oppression, in terms of invisibility. And photography being seen all along and still today as a male practice, because you need to carry heavy equipment, because you need to be able to be in the action and away from the family, because it takes away time from caregiving, because you're creating work, whether it's within your own space, in your own studio at home. So Black women, being people who never really had access to many things or many spaces in society, they are at the bottom. And photography being the way it is, they are at the bottom of that space, and the bottom of being ignored, and the bottom in the sense of that their work is not giving as much credit or importance or weight as other photographers' work.
Yeah. Well, we have to take a bit of a break. Bandile, stay there on the line. You highlight such important points there. How do you counteract some of those challenges in a contemporary setting of today, whereby there is a sense of liberation to the African woman, but also the term woman has so many layered meanings within it. It's not just one thing, right? And we'll speak a little bit more about that after the break, and also embracing that Black woman photographer. How do we do that? Because at times they're exploited, at times the industry in itself can actually be very much utilizing the Black woman photographer as just as an event manager instead of someone who's critically artistic in their work. We'll speak more about that after our break.
Africa Update on Channel Africa with Lulu Kabu.
Mozambique's opposition leader Venancio Mondlane has been charged with incitement to terrorism and disobedience. He faces a total of 5 charges. The charges relate to post-election violence that left hundreds of people dead. What punishment is he looking at?
The most severe charges are 2. One is incitement for terrorism, and also is being charged for mobilizing people for terrorism during the protests. These charges are really serious and severe. If he is condemned, is found guilty, he could serve 10 years plus years in jail, meaning that he would be banned from political participation, mainly for the 2028 and 2029 electoral cycle.
The director of CDD, the Center for Democracy and Development, Adriano Novunga.
Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time. Get set and be ready to go. On the move with Falisa Tau and Benjamin Mushatama.
The SABC is pleased to announce the launch of the new self-registration platform. Vendors wishing to do business with the SABC can self-register on our internally developed platform. Vendors are able to access this platform on our website www.sabc.co.za/SABC under e-tenders, or self-register at etender.sabc.co.za and follow the prompts. Visit SABC social media pages for more details.
Falisa and Benjamin, fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
We continue this conversation speaking about the Black Women in Photography Conference that will be taking place from the 21st to the 23rd of August here in Johannesburg, South Africa. Still joining us on the line is Bandile Gumbi, Head of Market Photo Workshop, alongside the Muholi Art Institute, who will be hosting this particular conference. As we continue, let's speak about the conference itself. A lot of the time when conferences come together, it's woman this, woman that, and it can be a bit of a talk shop. And then people come in, they have conversations, and then they leave. But sometimes there isn't really a lot of impact in spaces where people just talk and then go their separate ways. What is it about the Black Women in Photography Conference that leaves lasting impact in the space?
This conference, as you were saying, who are the partners in it, who are realizing it? The work the photo workshop does will continue post the conference. We will still support the training of photographers with also women photographers or other people identifying photographers. And it's a safe space, which is very important. And so that work will continue. It won't change. In terms of what Muholi Art Institute does, the work they do, this was their brainchild. And this is a movement building process. And these are the building blocks, the conferences, the training, the actual putting people in workspaces, and the other work the Institute does. And this is about creating this journey of safeguarding women's work, making women photographers are visible. So that work will continue beyond. It started before the conference and it will continue before the conference. These are just milestones or points of pause, of points of broader discussion, and making visible to the public the work that is already in existence and building on that.
And let's talk a little bit about that, because at times when a photographer gets into the space, they at times seen as an events organizer, or, I've seen that happen sometimes with women photographers, where they're not centralized as a creative genius or a creative director. Do you see those challenges where women photographers, they might be in the field, but they're not taken as creative, assets?
It definitely happens. And they're seen as people who can do the soft skills work.
Yeah.
Especially in spaces where it's also its own challenges. Then who gets assigned the work of care, the work of feeding people, that kind of work, the work of making sure that other people are okay. It's that lens. It's that lens that persists in different forms, even in that professional space. And then what happens is that the women in the space is not given, actually, because time is stolen from them. Enough time to actually do what they're there to do, to work on this craft.
And how do we change some of these challenges, as you've highlighted many of them? Bandile, you've been in the creative space in Johannesburg and different parts of the world for many, many years now. What do you think are the ways forward as we find new pathways of growth?
I think there's a big part of this of just self-knowledge as creative, whoever you are in that space as a photographer. Say no. To be saying, no, this is not what I came here to do.
Sure.
Then you should get someone to come do this work, to be the liaison, to be whatever the caterer or whatever is needed in the space, and be firm about this is what I came here to do. And those conversation is very hard now than before to run away from whoever is dictating the space.
What are some of the long-term impacts that you've envisioned through this particular workshop, and how women can change how they navigate the space of photography?
I mean, the collaboration is one thing. It's a big thing, and it comes in many formats, because collaboration can come as mentorship. Collaboration can come as exchange of knowledge or sharing of resources or sharing of networks and contact or sharing of experiences of how I navigated this space. I think that is key. And I'm moving away from working in silos and it's just me and my camera. It's me and my community and our cameras.
Sure. Okay, let's wrap up and find out a little bit more about where the conference is happening, who's going to be facilitating the different conversations.
The conference is happening at the Market Photo Workshop in Newtown, the Market Square. That's where our home base is. And the people who are facilitating, obviously, it's the photo workshop, it's Muholi Art Institute, and it's Ruth Motou Mentorship. And we have a range, let's say, of people, some people coming from practicing photographers, people coming from academia, people coming from industry that supports photography, like publishing and law, who will be speaking around these topics.
I love that you highlighted the business of photography, something that we didn't highlight, because IP is also a big, important aspect that you should have even as a creative. Well, that's how we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much, Bandile, for joining us on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, before you go, let us know how one can be a part of this workshop and where we can find out more information.
Yes. We are on social media. The poster and there's an RSVP process. You just send an email to Rivoningo at marketphotoworkshop.co.za, but it's also on the Market Photo Workshop social media platforms, and we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram. And also the Muholi Art Institute social media platform as well. They have the whole information of how you can come. But otherwise, you can just come on the
Thank you so much. That's Bandile Gumbi, head of the Market Photo Workshop, speaking about this incredible space, the Black Women in Photography Conference, that will be taking place from the 21st to the 23rd of August 2025. And that's our Women's Month focus, taking a look at some of the industries across the globe and here on the African continent that are still male-centered, but hopefully are changing and bringing more women into those spaces.